Thank you, Victor, for actually making it. Victor is actually a data analyst. So the good thing about you guys interacting with Victor is actually somebody who is still on ground doing the work itself, right? Um, Most of the speakers we've had so far, even though they are still doing the work, they are more in the research and the teaching and the big stuff. But somebody who is still very much into it would bring a different perspective to the discussion, because it will give you the perspective of how you can actually not just enter but continue to thrive, right? It provides a different lens. So, and that's why also his presentation is an interesting one. He's a data analyst, but has vast experience, whether it's extracting, analyzing, and interpreting complex data. He holds an MSc in computer science from University of Chester, and is based in UK. Whether you are talking, he has different skill set, whether it's utilizing Python and the rest. So without further ado, I'm privileged to introduce Mr. Victor. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So I will just present my screen. All right, so do confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
So yeah, it's been nice being here listening to the previous speaker and the speaker who spoke before me. It's already laid the groundwork for most of what I would be talking about. It's job roles and AI, and the fact that we need to embrace the future. The way AI has been in most organizations these days is there's a talk that AI is coming to replace human. Rather, it's not coming to do that. It's rather coming to create new jobs for us. And this presentation would actually explore all that. Sorry. So there's a rapid growth in AI. Most of the previous speaker has spoken about that in finance, in healthcare, in marketing. Most organizations are now introducing AI. Companies are using it for automation, for customer service and predictive analysis. So we'll talk about how AI is changing the job market. The previous speaker responded to a question about how or some of the jobs that could be replaced by AI. And he did mention something like data entry. So automation of repetitive tasks is how AI is coming into the market. So probably if your job, it's probably a one-way stuff of doing things, AI can be trained, and instead of having a human factor continue to do the same repetitive tasks, AI then picks up that particular task and is able to do it. But what it does, it gives you, the employee or the human, to be able to focus on something or something creative. It helps you to optimize your time, helps you to optimize other aspects of your skills and other areas in your workplace so that you can be productive at work. There's a demand for also soft skills like creativity, problem solving. So instead of when you're doing data entry job, for instance, you're not training your mind. You're not actually solving issues because you're just doing the same thing, carrying the data and you're putting. But with AI able to do that, you're able to focus on more things that helps you with problem solving and creative thinking. And so we are going to look at the emerging roles in AI, like some of the jobs. And again, the previous speaker spoke that most people just put AI in front of it. And if you can see on my screen, most of the stuffs are AI engineer, AI data scientist, AI specialist, right? To be an AI engineer, you're able to build models or system that machine learn. One thing that's important to note is that when we talk about AI or machine learning, is the fact that they are trained. They're actually trained by humans. The ChatGPT or BARD that you use, a human have given this AI the information and trained it on how to respond, right? So people who do that are known as AI engineer or machine learning engineers. Data scientist is also another emerging role when it comes to AI. In this webinar, we've spoken about data science at large. And so what they do is they use machine learning to analyze complex data and make data-driven decisions. So for my dissertation, I worked on analyzing and predicting stock market trend using machine learning. Basically, what I had to do was pick up a data set of probably Apple and looked at the investments of the past few weeks, of past few days or years, looking at the opening and the closing amount. You feed that information to the machine learning or the AI and tell it to learn and observe. Of course, these things you do it right in Python script and all that. And then it observes the trend of how these the prices change. So maybe on Mondays, $1 for an investment and it's $10. He observes, and due to that is able to predict what would happen or what the trend of the prices of Apple stock would be in the next year. So that's what data scientists do. You can also be an AI specialist in healthcare, ethics officer, robotics engineer, and there are people who are also known as AI trainer, because we know that AI is not perfect. And these people correct some mistakes that it might make due to information being given and all that. So these are some of the emerging roles in AI. So how are traditional roles, how are they transforming? How is AI having an impact on the traditional roles? I started by saying that AI is here to help us and not take our jobs, but there's some form of transformation that goes on. So you look at roles, for instance, like customer service, right? I'm sure most of you have probably gone on your app of some sort and you're trying to reach a customer service, but the first kind of interaction you get is with a chat box or an AI that is asking you for a normal conversation that previously without AI, the customer service will ask you, like probably your name and some information. This is helpful, right? It does not take the role of the customer service. However, it makes the customer prepared. So for instance, as a customer service, you have 20 people waiting for you. But when you start without AI, you would have to start asking each and every one of them, what are your names? What's your email address? But what happens is the AI can do that for you. So you're attending to customer A, and the AI is collecting the information of the remaining customers. So when you finish with customer A, you move to customer B, and AI gives you the information of customer B, and you just end the complaint that customer B has, and you just pick it up. So you see it has reduced, it's make you much more effective, and you're able to speak to many customers and resolve their issues as quickly as possible. In finance and marketing, as a marketer or a digital marketer, you don't have to try to segment your campaign all the time by yourself. If you have the information you want, you can put it on ChatGPT, you can put it on Bard, give it specific instructions, and it's going to give you how your marketing campaign should be. It takes away all the stress so that you can focus on more things, probably drafting how you present it to the team and all that. All right. So what are the skills to develop when it comes to AI and machine learning? You need to develop your technical skills. It's very important that you're able to pick up MySQL as a data analyst, Excel, and pick up Python. I spoke about how engineers are able to write code to teach the machine learning or AI how to do this or that. You do that using Python and R. You also need to improve your soft skills, your creativity, your critical thinking, and how to adapt to AI and use it with your work. There are also ethical awareness of AI, data privacy that you need to be aware of, And the previous speaker also spoke about how companies cannot just sack their employees because they've brought in a machine learning. So yeah, that's the ethic aspect of it. How can you develop or get these skills? There are so many online courses. There are platforms like Coursera, Udemy, where you can learn any of these skills. And the previous speaker before, the one before me, spoke about how you can learn some of these skills in weeks, in months, because you already have ChatGPT and most of these AI tools. What you need is the foundation, and you can apply for many courses. You get your certification as well. You can work on hands-on projects, develop portfolios, build lots of stuff that gives you experience, and then network. Like this one we're in, you join AI community, you attend conferences, you get information about AI and machine learning, and this helps you to develop your skills. It's very important to emphasize that AI is a tool that helps humans. It complements our human capabilities. I've spent the last few minutes explaining how best AI helps us do our work better. As a data analyst, it's my role. The team comes to me and tell me, okay, we want to report on this. We want to see revenue on this and on that. I most times, I don't need to start writing everything from scratch. I understand the basics of MySQL, and I understand the tables for people who understand SQL. I understand the tables and columns I need, and probably what I want in the report. So I don't need to write the data from scratch. What's important is I tell ChatGPT or whatever AI tool I'm using that, okay, these are the tables I have. I know I want this, I want that. I don't know what function would work best, and it just provides the function. And so you incorporate it, and it helps you do your job faster rather than writing everything. So this helps you to be able to focus on decision making and innovation, whilst it does the heavy lifting for you. So AI will continue to evolve, and it will continue to create new jobs and not really take them. What's important is that you up your skills, you embrace that AI has come and is coming to help your work easier. It's really made my work very easier. Previously, prior to ChatGPT and most of these AI tools, if you're looking for a function to write, probably you're not getting it, or you're stuck with your query or your code, you would have to go to probably Google, and you would have to go to a whole lot of stuff, Stack Overflow and all that. And then you begin to read through everybody's responses to see which one fits. But with ChatGPT, it gives you tailored response to whatever issues you're having. So it's important that we embrace it. It creates new job. The automation makes our life easier, and we're just to adapt to the essential skills that it's needed to be able to work with AI. So thank you. If there are any questions, I would be happy to respond.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Someone was raising his hand. I don't know if the person is still there. Who was raising your hand? Can you raise it again? Or maybe network, this network issue, the person got disconnected. Okay, guys, you can throw your questions. Now you could ask more practical questions in terms of how you navigate. Victor has really spent time explaining how he actually uses these tools in his work to actually make him more efficient. Victor, maybe let me kickstart by asking, don't you think that with time, because these tools are actually, they are tools, but remember the vision of OpenAI, they want to build the AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence, which is basically building something like a superhuman, can do everything a human can do. While we keep saying yes, it's a tool, by the time we come to that point where these machines can actually do more than what we can do you think it's still fair to consider them as tools, or they are actual replacements?
Yeah, so whatever we do, there's always going to be need for human interaction.
Okay.
There's so much that AI can do, no matter how well you train it. Of course, AI has been in existence for quite a while, and when I use it, it makes mistakes. It makes mistakes. So it's important that you have the knowledge of knowing how SQL works, right? It sometimes just it jumbles stuff together, and you need to correct it. So sometimes, although I can go back to my work and just type it out, sometimes I do, but most times I correct it that you need to do that. So there's a need to understand that it's not yet perfect. And even if it was created and it gives all the accurate information, even let's assume for a customer service, right? There are still people who want to talk to a human being. Because sometimes you go, you interact with a chatbot and you're trying to explain the problem you're having with the app, and it's still not giving you what you want until you're like connecting me to a customer service. So I believe that I don't think we'll get to a point where human interaction, there's going to be a kind of super AI where there's not going to be a need for human interaction.
Okay. Then Mishak said that as a software developer that he feels less of himself when AI helps him solve problems that he couldn't dream of solving. So what's your thought on that?
Yeah, so I understand. So I'm just going to use this analogy, right? Our forefathers, or you've heard us say before that, oh, washing machine, don't wash the clothes better. Wow. And you see old people or the previous generation say they believe in using their hands, right? But you and I know that, come on, we could be doing something else whilst the washing machine is doing that, right? Yeah. It's the same thing when it comes to when we're talking about AI feeling like redundant or whatsoever in terms of learning or in terms of doing your work. But it depends on what kind of tasks or workload you have. In terms of learning, I actually spoke to someone this morning, someone I'm mentoring, who mentioned me, who messaged me. He had an issue with padding. He's still studying CSS and he had an issue with padding. But I say he went to ChatGPT. ChatGPT just gave him everything, and somehow he does not know if he's learning or not. And I told him he needs to be careful. What's important is understanding the basics or the foundation of what you're learning. I did mention that there are certain times it gives me a response that no would not work, but because I understand the foundation of what I'm doing or what I need, I'm able to detect and tell it, right? And so for simple things like what the person was working on CSS, he might get it, but it's important to understand how these things work. So it's not you're not saying I'm going to learn software engineering, and because ChatGPT is there, you need to, there are error messages that come when you're writing your code. You need to understand when it gives you the response, what it does is it also explains why. So you learn in the process of what it's helping you, not just pick up the answer and solve the issue you're having with your code. You understand so that next time when you see the error message, you're able to identify that, this was the error, and I know I'm supposed to go here and go here, instead of going back to ChatGPT. You understand? That's how it helps you learn first. That when it comes to work as well, if you have lots of tasks, right, you can use it, but it doesn't make you redundant or lazy, because whilst it's probably producing what you're supposed to do based on what your tasks you're supposed to do, you can actually be doing other things. So if I have a kind of query I have, and I probably need to respond to certain emails, I can give it the instruction, quickly give me that, and I'm responding to my email. So it makes your work efficient.
AI, we should go into relationship with the AI in that way. See it as our helpmates of sort to navigate our work life, right? Become more productive. Though some people have raised some issues with that. So, some of these hard tasks we do, like if, for example, I'm not a software developer, but trying to crack the code and everything helps to develop your brain too, right? Helps to really help you understand how things work. It's part of what we call useful cognition, right?
Okay.
So if we do away with all those heavy lifting, now we are just left with it, typing things into ChatGPT and having the answer fancy. Don't you think it will impede on our own capability to be our best? Or do you think that as these tools are helping us, we'll find things that are harder to do that will also keep helping us to advance?
Yeah. So I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier on. It's a very tricky stuff, and it requires a skill actually. People don't know. It requires a skill to not be like your whole life is based on it, and probably when you're asked the question, you don't even know how to do that particular thing without going to ChatGPT. Or for instance, there are issues where probably maybe you have network issue, and then no, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is there's a thin line between just not knowing exactly what to do and running to ChatGPT and being stuck and looking at time to meet the deadline and it helping you. So if you probably are doing it, picking up the information and not learning, or you've not actually learned the skill or whatever you're supposed to learn, be it Python or SQL, and you're just doing that, that's the wrong way to go about it. AI is just like every other thing in the world where when it comes, people use it right and people use it wrong, right? There are certain times where even after it has given me an approach, I ask it, why are we going through this approach? And I give it my own response. And I make sure, you see, AI works in such a way that when you give it a response, it then says yours is correct and stuff like that. But I make sure we are having intellectual conversation, because you also have information, I have information. Which one is better? When it gives you a response to your coding, for instance, based on how I know AI works, it gives you the steps and it explains why it's going with that approach. It's important for you to learn. And I did mention that it doesn't mean that when next you have that issue, you run back to AI. You understand? If it has given you that instruction, it's telling you, oh, probably you need to update this dependency. Maybe you change your laptop and now you don't have that particular dependency in trying to run the code. When you see that error, you're able to remember and just quickly just go and maybe write a script that updates to that dependency, not run back to AI. Because if you are using AI and you're not keeping any information, then that's the wrong way of using AI. You're supposed to use it to stimulate your learning. It's a learning stuff, right? Even though it's giving you the response, it's learning. For every information we have, even before AI, we learned. When you sign up on Udemy and someone is teaching you, you're learning. And sometimes you raise your hand in class and you ask the teacher, and the teacher responds. That's what AI is doing. So you're not just ignoring the learning aspect. If you're doing that, then you're using it wrong.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of this section. Mr. Victor, thank you. It's been really insightful.
Right.
Of course, learning from the practical side, how you navigate using these tools to do your work. Ultimately, I think the bottom line of what you are sharing with us today is that AI should be seen as a tool for efficiency to make you better. Then it now leaves you with enough time to actually do things that are more humane or more human, probably help you to become better in whatever it is that you are doing. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a great privilege having you on board. Awesome.